Hey everybody, hope your day is going well. We are back with another reaction, and I saw this video pop up onto my feed this morning on the TED Ed YouTube channel. Link to the original is in the description as always. The benefits of a bilingual brain. And if you're asking yourself, is this another chance for Saeed to brag about his bilingualness? Dan heb je dat goed geraden. Je dois démontrer que je parle français bien, oui. Yeah, I didn't even know there was benefits to this. Of course, talking to other people, that's the benefit, or reading books and stuff, or watching TV shows and movies. What other benefits are there? Let me check this out. I'm curious.
Hablas español? Parlez-vous français? 你会说中文吗? If you answered sí, oui, or 会, and you're watching this in English, chances are you belong to the world's bilingual and multilingual majority.
Cool.
And besides having an easier time traveling or watching movies without subtitles,
Hey,
knowing two or more languages.
I still like the subtitles though. Even like if I watch English films, I don't watch them with like Dutch subtitles or Flemish, whatever you want to call it. I always put on the closed caption, the English. I like to, it's like immersive. I like that. Yeah. And also sometimes just when it's late at night and people are sleeping, I put the volume down and, then you can kind of read and listen at the same time. Right. See, that's what I said. That's the best benefit is talking to people, traveling, watching movies, and reading books. For me, that's a big one.
Languages means that your brain may actually look and work differently than those of your monolingual friends.
How so?
So, what does it really mean to know a language? Language ability is typically measured in two active parts, speaking and writing, and two passive parts, listening and reading. While a balanced bilingual has near equal abilities across the board in two languages, most bilinguals around the world know and use their languages in varying proportions. And depending on their situation and how they acquired each language, they can be classified into three general types. For example, let's take Gabriella, whose family immigrates to the US from Peru when she's 2 years old. As a compound bilingual, Gabriella develops two linguistic codes simultaneously with a single set of concepts, learning both English and Spanish as she begins to process the world around her. Her teenage brother, on the other hand, might be a coordinate bilingual, working with two sets of concepts, learning English in school while continuing to speak Spanish at home and with friends. Finally, Gabriella's parents are likely to be subordinate bilinguals, who learn a secondary language by filtering it through their primary language. Because all types of bilingual people can become fully proficient in a language, regardless of accent or pronunciation, the difference may not be apparent to a casual observer. But recent advances in brain imaging technology have given neurolinguists a glimpse into how specific aspects of language learning affect the bilingual brain. It's well known that the brain's left hemisphere is more dominant in analytical and logical processes, while the right hemisphere is more active in emotional and social ones. Though this is a matter of degree, not an absolute split. The fact that language involves both types of functions, while lateralization develops gradually with age, has led to the critical period hypothesis. According to this theory, children learn languages more easily because the plasticity of their developing brains lets them use both hemispheres in language acquisition.
Okay, that's very interesting. And I'm seeing it right now with my daughter as well. Of course, being in a non-English speaking country, and that's kind of the benefit of so many films being made and stories in English, and whether it's UK, Australian, American, there's a lot, content is king. And it used to be for me that way as well. Watching TV, I learned to speak English on my own, right? Like a lot of kids do now, especially here in Europe, I believe, when they watch like YouTube videos. Nowadays, it's YouTube videos. Used to be films for me and TV shows, and you have the subtitles on, and you watch them, nonstop, and that's how you learn. And then I started to read in English books, a lot of fantasy. And before I ever got my first English lesson in school, I already spoke it. I had family in England as well, so that helped too. But it's very cool to see that young mind, and she's even reading stuff like words that she hasn't, you know, seen yet. She's kind of guessing the pronunciation, but based on the things she already knows, she's right. It's amazing to see and to witness that. Yeah. The neuroplasticity of a young person is just yeah, it's a sponge. It's so cool.
In most adults, language is lateralized to one hemisphere, usually the left. If this is true, learning a language in childhood may give you a more
Google
holistic grasp of
gaga.
its social and emotional contexts. Conversely, recent research showed that people who learned a second language in adulthood exhibit less emotional bias and a more rational approach when confronting problems in the second language than in their native one. But regardless of when you
Oh
acquire
yeah.
additional languages,
Maybe because it's like almost watching it through a different lens or a third person type of view. Me with French, I learned in school, right? Because we're in Belgium, we have the official three languages. We have German too, but a smaller portion. But French and Dutch, or Flemish as we call it, are the two primary languages, and it's in school you have to learn it, which is it's nice, especially for traveling. But English for me, with the channel. But even before that, I was reading a lot. My thoughts have been in English almost always, and I sometimes forget words in my native language. I get like, how is this? What is it called in my own language? Also, English has more words in the vocabulary, so sometimes for one English word, we have to use like three Dutch words to describe the same thing because there's just more words uh, in the dictionary. Basically, it's very interesting to see. So I think my emotions are tied with both languages. I don't have that third type of perspective that they're referencing in this video. And for French, it's not that fluent, right? I can hold a conversation, but slowly.
being multilingual gives your brain some remarkable advantages. Some of these are even visible, such as higher
Visible.
density of the gray matter that
Oh, I
contains
thought
most of your
on the
brain's
outside of my
neurons and
head.
synapses, and more activity in certain regions when engaging a second language. The heightened workout a bilingual brain receives throughout its life can also help delay the onset of diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia by as much as 5 years. The idea of major cognitive
I
benefits to
hope so.
bilingualism may seem intuitive now,
Did a lot of drinking to counter that effect.
but it would have surprised earlier experts. Before the 1960s, bilingualism was considered a handicap that slowed a child's development by forcing
What?
them to spend too much energy distinguishing between languages, a view based largely on flawed studies. And while a more recent
Schwein.
study did show that reaction times and errors increase for some bilingual students in cross language tests, it also showed that the effort and attention needed to switch between languages triggered more activity in, and potentially strengthened, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the brain that plays a large role in executive function, problem solving, switching between tasks, and focusing while filtering out irrelevant information. So, while bilingualism may not necessarily make you smarter, it does make your brain more healthy, complex, and
Really?
actively engaged. And even if you didn't have the good
That's
fortune of
interesting.
learning a second language as a child, it's never too late to do yourself a favor and make the linguistic leap from hello to hola, bonjour, or ni haos. Because when it comes to our brains, a little exercise can go a long way.
I like that. Yeah, but the older you get, the harder it becomes to learn that language. I'm doing like Duolingo every day, and it's fun in the beginning, and then it gets hard. You switch language, and that's no good. So I do a lot of French as well on it just to keep up because I used to have a job where I had to speak French every day, and that's been so long ago, and now I don't have anything really to practice on except a little bit of travel. That's not enough if you go once a year to France or something. So yeah, you do have to keep it up, even with Urdu. From my dad's side, I don't practice it. It's almost all gone. Yeah, very interesting, and that perspective they were talking about when being more rational if you learned a second language or a third language at an older age. I might have to do that And if you have like a problem that you need to solve without emotion, you kind of think about it in another language. Hmm, that's interesting. I love that. But I do love the English language a lot. I love to read in English, love to watch films in English. So uh, I favorite and my fellow authors here in Belgium, they don't like that when I say that, and yeah, it's just it's always been with me since childhood, so I love it. Thank you for joining me today, and hope to see you in another one. Bonne journée, nog een fijne dag. Ciao.